What's the Car Talk podcast?
Hello and welcome back to the Car Talk podcast. A new month and new car news and also transportation opinion. Joining me this month is Matty as usual. How you doing, Matty?
Yes, not so bad, not so bad.
Good stuff. And a returning guest this month as well. We're bringing back Jamie, who owns the MG. that's who he is. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thank you for having me on again. Pleasure.
Yeah, no problem at all. Yeah, we're all good here. We are doing a specific theme this month, and we're going to talk about. Well, we mentioned, lads, a lot of time we talk about electric cars and the future of cars. So this podcast we're going to sort of talk about how we can improve maybe the electric cars into something else. Like I suppose we'll have a conversation about later on. But basically, what sort of mineral we could use instead of electric to power a car. That's sort of what we're going to go for later on.
I have saved the planet with my idea.
I'm sure you have, Matty. I'm looking forward to hearing it later on. We'll start off with the car news, though, as usual. Matty, would you like to start us off with anything?
Yes, certainly will. You may have been listening last month's podcast where we were very impressed with the new Ford Explorer. We were very keen to explore it and give it a chance. But unfortunately, this month Ford have thrown all of it away. In recent years, obviously, unfortunately so. In recent years, they've revived a couple of names. The Cougar, we weren't too bothered about that because the original Cougar was rubbish, the sort of fat sort of sports car thing. The Puma, which we were sad about because that's just another SUV.
Yes.
The Explorer, of course. But they've done it again. And this is probably the worst one.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're on about. This is an absolute abomination.
It's an absolute travesty that the Capri should now be revived as, you guessed it, an SUV.
Oh,
what do you think of that?
That's blown my mind. I thought it was going to be unoriginal. I thought it was going to be original. They've smashed it out of the park. It's actually different. Oh wait.
No, that's really depressing actually, because I would have, they cancelled the Mondeo and stuff. Why didn't they make the Capri and revive it as another saloon or a estate car? Would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that's the same. That's the whole same point with the Puma. The Puma was like a hot hatch / like whatever it is, the weird shape that it was, and yet they bought it as an SUV.
But didn't they only make one Puma? Wasn't it?
They had the standard Puma, and then they had the racing Puma.
Yeah.
And the racing Puma nowadays is as rare as rocking or shit. Absolutely so rare nowadays. But yeah, the fact that they brought that back as an SUV was just absolutely outrageous in its own right, let alone the fucking Capri, you know what I mean?
Yep. Unfortunately, it gets worse. It's going to be electric.
For God's sake.
It's going to be very similar sort of setup to the Explorer, which is using Volkswagen technology. Expected range of 220 miles. And that's all I know about it.
Oh, that is disappointing. We'll have to see what that looks like.
The only decent part about that car is the sound of the Volkswagen technology in there.
Yeah.
That's literally the only decent part about it. Literally fun fact.
It seems as Ford are doing that now, aren't they? Because they've done that with the Explorer that we talked about last month, wasn't it, Matty?
Yeah, and the new Transit Connect is a Volkswagen Caddy.
Literally, you know how like 23 plate, 63 plate, or like 73 plate would come out at different parts of the year. So 23 would come out in March, 73 would come out in September.
Yeah.
Literally, the second week into March, the second week of the 23 plates being a thing, I was driving back to my mum and dad's house, and I literally passed by this lay-by, and this Ford Tornio, 23 plate Ford Tornio, was being seen to by an RAC van. Bonnet was up, smoke was absolutely pouring out of it. Like if that says anything about Ford's reliability in this day and age, that Capri is not going to last very long.
Well, let's hope it does fail, because I don't want another SUV.
The thing is, I don't want an SUV, and I'd love it to fail, but I don't want it to fail with that name, because that is just such a legendary and fucking like.
I think it's already dead in the water though, with it being an SUV.
Possibly.
Anyway, I'd like to lighten the mood up a little bit and talk about Gordon Murray's new car. And he released the T, whatever it was, 30 something or other before, which was that sort of V12, from McLaren F1 derived sort of supercar. Well, he's done a version of that, but it's the Spider. Looks fantastic. It's got a 3.9 litre V12 manual, and it has 617 horsepower. I don't know if you've seen the pictures, lads, but it looks pretty spectacular. It's going to cost £2 million. They're only making 100 of them. And it weighs about a ton, which is, it's proper supercar sort of pedigree. This, but that's
just the idea of a manual V12 is just music to my ears.
I know, yeah. We need one again. It's been a while since we've had one.
I'm surprised they're allowed to make V12s nowadays. I really am. Like,
they're on borrowed time.
Is there any
Everyone's doing the
hybrid
last
technology now?
editions now, aren't they? Especially Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I swear that was the trend like 5 years ago, with like Audi not being allowed to make V10s anymore or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like
this is, to answer your question, Jamie, this is a naturally aspirated, so it's a fully fledged, V12. It's taken a lot of inspiration. Well, the car in general has taken a lot of inspiration from the McLaren F1, which is obviously a fantastic car as well, as we know.
Oh yes.
But that's coming, I think, this year. So quickly, if you want to buy one, there's only 100 of them, so get in there quickly.
Oh, God. Who did you say made that car again?
Gordon Murray.
I thought you was going to start talking about the McMurray racing thing, that thing that broke the record at Goodwood. That's what I thought you was going to get at. And then you started talking about this car. I was like, I've obviously not heard of this, so this is news to me. Like, But yeah, that thing in general is wicked as well.
It looks awesome.
Completely off topic.
Matty, have you got anything else?
Yes, a couple of things to rattle through here, but this is the most positive news that I've got, and it is going to please our guest here. Jamie, have you seen the new MG Cyberster?
I've got this down as well.
As soon as you said that it was going to ring in my ears, I knew exactly what you were going to talk about.
And what a name as well. That's better than like Revive and I don't know, like I can't even think of like an old, like that's better than MG Revive and the MGB name or something like that. They thought of an original name.
I'm just going to throw it out there, right? MG have already done it once by ruining a name when they brought out the ZS. They brought the new era of cars out, brought an SUV out, called it the ZS. That's literally the same as Ford naming the Capri SUV after the Capri Saloon. It was literally the same thing. But thankfully, like you say, that name Cyberstar, that's not bad, to be fair. Like I hope the person that came up with that name's got a raise, because there ain't going to be no more cars out here with exciting names like that. Obviously, the only thing that's going to annoy me is the fact it's electric, but such is the modern world nowadays. There's not anything we can do about it. So
yeah,
apart from the go on.
What do you think of modern MGs? I've probably asked you this before, but
I think we touched on it a slight bit, but I think with the podcast being mainly about my other car, I think it was just more focused on that. I don't actually have too bad of an opinion on them. Like, I know they're Chinese and they're all like they're still quite new to the car market in general in comparison to like the Japanese and the Koreans and that, but I don't think they're that far behind. I really don't. Like, you look to like a decade ago when Top Gear went over there and was just taking the mick out of all the fake cars that are meant to, so like the fake BMW X5 and everything. And you just think that they just looked in the Stone Age. And then you go forward to 10 years and you see what they're doing with MG. I don't think they're really doing a bad job. And to be fair, if I'm correct with some of it, I actually think with the at least with some of the SUVs like the HS and the ZS, I'm pretty sure they use a few Kia bits in there as well. So
they've got a 7-year warranty as well. But I think they're really good. They will hopefully with this they will, but they just so far haven't recreated the glory days, and it's not the MG that we remember.
But I don't think for as long as it'll be existing for now, I just don't think it'll ever get back to that, because obviously. I hate to bring it up, but it belongs to a different group of people now. Like the British owned MG back in its glory days, and now it's owned by the Chinese, and all that industrialization sort of thing about it. it's not going to sit right with a load of purists of the brand anyway.
Well,
so
that's it.
I don't think it will ever recover to how we always used to see it. So.
The MG BGT didn't have a screen in it with Windows 10 built in, did it?
No, definitely not. I'm not going to talk about Windows 10, not with what happened with my laptop. I'm just going to completely avoid that point.
Certainly not, but yeah, 0 to 60 under 3 seconds in the MG Cyberster, or Cyberster, and up to 450 horsepower is possible, it says.
Nice.
So maybe they just haven't finished building it yet, but I don't really know. On sale this summer.
Matty, I've got a bit more information on it if you want me to talk about it that I've written down from my research. Do you want to hear it as well, or about this car?
Yeah, okay. Make me feel underprepared.
Well, you're right about the 0-60, but they're going to make 2 versions of this thing. So they're going to make a rear-wheel drive one, and they're going to make an all-wheel drive one, and they'll have different power between them. So the rear-wheel drive will have one motor, I believe, and it will have 300 and something horsepower, but rear-wheel drive. And the all-wheel drive one will have 500 something horsepower, and it will have 2 motors. So that's just a little bit more information there on the car, which I think it's actually quite different, compared to the other cars that they've done. Or
yeah,
just
it's
from
good.
The rivals
like
and stuff. It's cool.
I do like it.
I don't want to sound mad when I say this, but as much as all of that sounds really, really good, it's also quite worrying because you've literally said about so many good things about this car. There's got to be something with it that doesn't sit right with someone. I'm just gonna put this out there. I used to work for Honda not too long ago, right? And the Honda E for an electric car is absolutely fantastic. The thing that let it down, the reason why it hasn't sold so much, is because of the amount of range. Yeah. And I just hope that that's not going to be the case with this. I really do, because some manufacturers, you think about all this electric technology they've developed over the last decade and that to get them all ready for when the trend comes in, and then the range is just absolutely abysmal. And the fact that the Honda E couldn't even do 200 miles of range. The rest of the car, like I say, is fantastic. It's so nimble, it's so agile on the road and everything. Fantastic little car. But the fact that, again, the range is just one of those things. And it's the same when I think the Volkswagen IDs as well, like the ID3 and the ID4. The range on them ain't great. A load of these cars now, they still need a lot of work doing in terms of range and battery life and everything. It's not sustainable at all at the moment.
No, I agree.
100%.
I mean, I'd imagine we haven't really got information on the range on this, but I'd imagine
we actually have got information, Bailey. If you'd have, would you like me to tell you the information on the range?
Oh yeah. Go on.
Well, actually, we can refer to some of MG's other models and look to the MG4, which is their newest hatchback. That has up to 281 miles of range. So we can, in fact, that's real world, by the way. We can, in fact, compare it to that. It's probably going to have the same sort of shared motor within it. Do you know the price of the MG Cyberster, by the way?
I want to say, I don't actually know this. I want to say nearing the 50 grand mark.
I'm going to say more because you know what they're like with electric cars.
You've both saved yourselves a bit of money there. It's going to start from £40,000, which for a sports car,
that's not bad, to be fair.
Bailey, I'm actually surprised you said higher, given the fact that they're trying to rekindle their status and everything. There would have been absolutely no chance of any sales if they'd have sold it for over 50 grand.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
It's surely though it's got to win back some of the old timers though, Jamie, because otherwise
they're not. Mate, I'm sorry. It's all these old timers that are into the older MGs. They're just purists, mate. They're
but the people who are buying MGs now are looking at Hyundais. They're looking at Kias. They're looking at Suzukis. They're not looking. If they're looking to buy an MG Cyberster, how do I keep getting that wrong? Sorry, or if they're if you're going to buy a brand new MX-5, are you going to consider an MG Cyberster?
Me? I mean, no, probably not.
Well, anybody, Is it actually? Do you think this is going to flop? Do you think this is just
I don't think it's going to flop. I don't think it's going to flop for the simple fact it's electric. Because you talk about the new MX-5, that's still got a combustion engine, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if
It does.
the current one has, but the next one I'm not sure what they're doing with it.
Yeah, the next one probably will be electric, but we're talking about the most current MX-5 against
that's-
the upcoming Cyberstar.
I mean, this will
You would
this will
think
trump
that
it.
Cyberstar is going to succeed for the simple fact that it's pure electric, and that's what everyone's after at the moment because of the upcoming regulations and everything, which I think is a load of rubbish. But we're going to move on from that bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Should we move on from the MG just before we get into
Please,
a heavy
please.
debate? I've got some good news that I'd like to mention, which I don't know if you've heard about this, Matty. And it is that they finally cancelled the plans for the new smart motorways.
Yes.
The government have announced that. And
They
it's good
must have
news.
listened to the podcast.
Very,
I know,
very
they
good
must have
news.
listened. They
Yeah.
must have. Because the amount of times we
Completely,
mentioned it on this podcast, they would say we actually hate it.
Yes, every
is,
week,
you know,
isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be, if they're going to remove the old ones, but I think from any new
God.
smart motorways, I don't know if it is the case, but any new smart motorways they're stopping doing basically.
Yeah,
So I don't know if the ones that are currently in operation are they going to take down or not, but
So
Ladies
what does
and
that mean?
gentlemen, the M6 is going to get back to normal.
hopefully.
What does I'm sorry, like Bailey, you'll know exactly where I'm talking about with this. What does that mean for all those roadworks that have happened going down the M4 towards Reading? They've been going on for like 5 years now, building a smart
Well,
motorway in there. What's
they've
going to happen to that
only-
now?
They've only just finished it, probably about maybe half a year ago, 6 months ago, and it's quite nice. It's a lot wider now on the M4, like where Heathrow is to Reading and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if they're going to. I assume they're going to keep that. And
I can only imagine they'll do a solid line between what was meant to be the fourth lane
yeah, that could.
and where the hard shoulder's meant to be. I can only imagine that's what they're going to do because they can't open that now, surely, because that will be classed as a new smart motorway.
Yeah, I mean the only problem with that is some of the fourth lane is often used as a lane to get into if you're coming off, for example. So they'd have to sort of cheat it a little bit and stop the hard shoulder for a bit and then put it back on.
Yeah, but that's fine though. That literally happens in every other motorway.
That's true.
It's just the fact that if you've got it constantly, that is just the most idiotic thing ever.
Well, I've got
is.
an idea actually for what we could do with the existing smart motorways that the people who use them have already had the peril of waiting years and years of their lives to be built. There could be a huge benefit here where the lane that was originally the hard shoulder. What they should do is they should put the red X above the lane that was originally the hard shoulder to say that somebody has broken down, and put the bright sparks that put all of this into action and decided that this was a good idea, make them stand single file in that lane and explain to them that, well, it's a red cross above, you're going to be fine, like we put a red cross above it, no one's going to drive and run you over at 70 miles an hour, surely not.
I'm in favour of that.
I'm in favour of that, and people might say that's a bit.
Get the lot of them and just dump them there.
People
and
say
just wait
that
and
that's
see.
people like if I was Clarkson right now, I'd be getting shunned, but people have literally died because of them on that because they
Yeah,
thought
this
it was
is
a
only
good
fair.
idea. It is only fair, even
I'm all for that,
Stevens.
Matty.
Yeah.
All for that.
Anyway, in other news, there's a new
Yes.
Suzuki Swift.
Oh god.
Let's have a look at this.
Well, it looks exactly the same as the old one. So if you can't be asked finding the Auto Express article, all you have to do is Google Suzuki Swift or just go on the website because it is spy shots where it's wrapped in like newspaper and it's exactly the same.
It looks a bit weird though, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know if that's like the camo, but it looks like the shape of it just looks really, really odd. Like, it's almost got like the roof is almost sort of smaller than the actual body. It's
Yeah,
it's
and
like a
it's-
cartoon car.
So, well, it is literally just a Suzuki. It's not. There's nothing new about it. It will be using Toyota's electric technology. So that's all I know about
a
it.
sport one. I wonder if they're going to do a Suzuki Sport of this.
Possibly.
'Cause I'm not sure if they did one of the last one, did they?
Well, I would have thought you'd have taken over with a bit more information.
Is that how we're doing it now?
I can tell you that recently the newest Suzuki Swift Sport is kind of like a mild hybrid sort of thing now. So, who really knows what's which way it's going to go, but yeah.
We'll have to see about that. I've got one more final piece of news.
Okay.
And it's the updated Tesla Model 3. I don't know if you've seen it. It still looks like a Tesla. It's still pretty crap.
Yeah, that was designed by the same guy who designed the new Suzuki Swift, was it not?
I don't know.
I'm not interested.
Well, yeah.
You're not interested.
Laziness, lazy design style.
It is, but basically it's got slimmer headlights and a front bumper, and also new wheels. There's a little picture of it being unveiled from this, car cover for some reason. It just looks the same, but it sort of looks like the Roadster that they've never released, which I don't know, still haven't released that yet, have they? The Tesla Roadster that they promised. Well, but it kind of looks like that at the front.
We've got on the show today Jamie, who is actually very good at letting us. He's very good at encouraging us all to get like all the rage off our chest, but in a nice way, and like back me up how shit are Teslas. They are such bad quality. The fit and finish is awful. We've just had about 15 come through our dealership. Like, they're all misaligned, and these aren't even like cars that have been in a crash or anything like that. Obviously they've come out of the factory, like, I was gonna say like Rovers, but I don't want to offend you.
I was literally about no. Literally, I was about to say, in layman's terms, that just sounds like the electric version of British Leyland.
Yeah,
it literally does. Like, is one gonna be longer on one side than the other, like the SD1 or something like that? Like, I can't get my head around how bog standard a Tesla is inside. It's literally just a bit of interior with a massive iPad in the middle. Like, it's literally nothing more than that.
I like calling them
within that touchscreen.
I like calling them NPC cars because it just is. It's just like the bulk standard, spawn in on the road, that sort of thing.
Well, one of the lads bought one in work, and I doubt he'll ever listen to this, but you won't mind me saying, like, the sales manager in work bought one, and he said, "Oh, look at what my Tesla can do! Look at this!" And obviously, it could do all like novelty, gimmicky shit.
Yeah.
So he got the Tesla to do a light show while playing Old Lang Syne, the Scottish thing that you sing on New Year. So
my God.
the lights are flashing, the door mirrors are going in and out while it's blasting Old Lang Syne, and the windows are going up and down. And I was like, right, and he's just made up with it. Like, are you impressed? And I was like, yeah, that is thrilling. Whatever floats your boat. Like,
forever smitten.
Once you've seen it once, do Old Lang Syne and maybe whoopee cushion your mother-in-law. What's the point?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit stale after like a couple of times of doing it, isn't it?
I did have one thing to bit of news once you guys are finished with.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Jamie, if you've got any news, like, literally now. So go for it.
It's not exactly news. I think, to be fair, it might be news for those that are in need of a family car of some sort. I've literally yesterday found the perfect family car for the petrol head. Right, not even gonna lie, I work on Volkswagens for a living now. Right, and I worked on and drove yesterday a Volkswagen T-Roc R, not an R line, just an actual R. So it's got the TSI engine in it from the Golf R and everything. Honestly, I liked the T-Roc anyway. Like, bog standard one, I think it's a very nice looking car and everything. And you know how Jeremy Clarkson always has these analogies of these cars and everything.
Yeah.
My mate came up with one yesterday for it, because he's a massive fan of it as well. He turns around to me and goes, it's literally like grabbing Emma Watson, right? Perfectly good looking enough. And then she just suddenly decides one day that she gets her boobs done. So it's even better looking. Like,
brilliant.
I was on the floor. Like, it was so funny. But honestly, I drove it and everything. It's absolutely insane. Like, it's so nimble and agile. Like, I was throwing it through some of the narrow streets in Bristol. It's absolutely fantastic fun. And you get it out onto the bypass, and you just tonk it. It's great.
I suppose it's not actually that much heavier than the Golf R, is it really?
It can't
it's a little
be.
bit, but I mean, it's obviously raised up and stuff, and obviously got slightly different panels and that. But yeah, it can't be that much more heavy.
But you've got so much more practicality on it though. Like it's
Yeah,
not even that much
that's
bigger
true.
either. It's not a Tiguan. It's like not too big. It's perfect size. Like honestly, if you're going for a family car and you don't mind spending a bit of money on excess fuel, that is the perfect car. It genuinely is.
By Emma
Well, we don't-
Watson.
This is the first time we've had a guest do consumer advice on the show, so that's great to hear, Jamie.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
I've got a similar situation to you actually, in which I drove another car and sort of mini reviewed it without filming it, and it was basically because my mum's Mercedes C-Class estate, which is quite old now, it's an 08. It got recalled back into Mercedes because they had to have the airbag done or something like that. Anyway, she took the car back and she got this new, brand new, like 23 plate Mercedes, and it was the EQC 400 4MATIC, and it's the
I've
like
seen-
SUV, sort of smaller SUV of the bunch, I think, the electric one.
I've seen them go on the highway on like the bypasses and stuff. They are just like they're literally like rocket ships.
They are.
It's actually insane how fast they are.
They are, and I literally when
They're
I drove
so
it,
fast.
I put it in the sport mode, which it has, and that stiffens the suspension, all that sort of stuff. And I just floored it, and I was like, wow, that's actually, because I've never driven an electric car before, and I was like, that's actually got some punch to it. So it's sort of I'm not saying I'm sold on electric cars, but it's sort of twisting my vision slightly on it, just because I've sat in that one, you know.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like literally, at one of my old works, we had a Tesla Model 3 come in, and it was the performance one, the dual motor.
Yeah.
And the person that was working on it took me out in it, put it in the performance mode, and seriously, it was like 2.5 seconds, 0 to 60.
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah,
Stopped,
instantaneous
naught,
response.
flat
isn't
to
it?
the floor.
You really feel like the G
mate.
from it as well. It's crazy. Even
Mate,
with
it's
a big
insane.
SUV like that, it's like the torque on it is crazy.
My eyes literally went to the back of my head. It was insane. I just couldn't get my head around it, and well, that's literally because it was pinned against the bloody seat.
Yeah, I was like that when I went on I drove a Jaguar I-Pace recently, and that was...
Oh, don't talk. No, sorry,
fast.
I'm not interested, mate. I'm anything JLR related.
I know
just
the
getting
windscreen
a
leaks
bit.
in them and they all got recalled, but it was fucking fast. Honestly.
JLR
Yeah, I mean,
can just get
it's
in the
even. I
bin.
mean, it's crazy, isn't it? All these SUV electric cars. You would think, oh, they're actually quite slow, but they're really not. They're probably
No.
faster than a lot of saloon cars. And it was quite surprising, and it was very comfortable inside. I wasn't a fan of the massive screen in it, but you know, it was functional. It worked very well.
And if
But
you're
it's like-
watching this podcast as it goes out, Bailey's mum has crashed into the M4.
No, but I tell you what happened the other
Going
day as
too
well
fast.
to do with my mum.
Bonneted
My-
a couple of people in the slow lane.
Yes, I wonder who they were. I actually got something a little bit more on my mum's actually on my mum's side. We were driving down to my granddad's, and she got caught speeding again from one of those speed vans, and I think
They're
she's
little
on. I think
bastards,
this
aren't
would mean that she's on 9 points. And I was like, Mum, you're literally 3 points away from losing your licence. It's ridiculous. And she wasn't even going quickly. She was doing like 57 in a 15. I was like, still over the limit though.
Something about mums.
It's over
isn't
the
there?
10% that
I
they
know.
allow you, so you
There's-
can't argue with
There's
it.
something about mums. Like my mum was the same, and she's ended up having to like say to me, Dad, will you say that you were driving that day so I don't get the fucking points? So my dad's had to
Yeah,
go
he
on
probably-
speed awareness courses
That's not how
for
it works.
offences he hasn't even done.
Yeah, I bet it will get to that point as well. But speaking of the speed camera vans, have you heard about the new ones that are going to be matte grey? and they're
Can
gonna
I
be
just
hidden?
say that is fake news?
Is it?
It is fake news.
Oh, thank God
They
for
they
that.
wouldn't be allowed to do that. Like,
I was gonna
otherwise
say-
you'd have them hiding in horse boxes.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff
been
like that.
it's been
It'd just be the
legislation
same
since about
concept.
2008 or something that they have to.
They have to be visible and they have to be in a police vehicle. That is the fairest way you can catch someone speeding. Like, that is the only way they can catch you and
Yeah.
prosecute you for it.
Okay, well, I saw it on a couple of places, and I believed it. I was like, oh shit, that's not good.
I reckon it's just scaremongering more than anything.
Yeah, probably.
Just trying to get people to just slow the fuck down.
Yeah. As I've said before, viewers, you just can't trust a southerner.
Oh, come on. You're 2-on-1 here, Matt. Come on.
Anyway, let's move on to our theme.
Fucking scousers.
So we're gonna as I said, we've mentioned the electric cars a lot here on the Car Talk podcast, but now we're gonna come up with a solution to move away from that stupidity and think of something probably that would be better to work with cars.
Yes, and who better to have as our guest, Bailey, than this guy who works with cars to help solve the problem.
Well, exactly. We got a mechanic, sort of on board with us as well, and obviously got Matty's very intelligent northern brain. So let's start off with whatever you think. What's your solution, Matty, to this crisis?
My solution here is it's very low key. It's Gucci. It's literally on fleek. It's dank. It hits different.
Bougie.
It's shook, and it is basically a car that runs on woke jargon. We see a lot of wokeism, and it's a lot of hot air. And I think that wokeism and hot air can be converted into energy to power a car. So all you do is you pull up and you grab like a sort of a woke person, a millennial, a Gen Z, if you
Someone
like,
who has blue hair,
a snowflake, yes, and you grab one of them and you enter into the fuel tank. Well, literally whatever you feel like, and it is literally gender fluid, literal social battery, literally I can't even, literally triggered, literally vegan, gammons, Karens and boomers,
Sam Smith,
Bopo, Sam Smith, freaked, cancel culture, gaslighting, extinction rebellion, toxic masculinity, and that is guaranteed, ladies and gentlemen, to keep your car totally 100 and will be your aesthetic. You will feel blessed, will have the feels, and the planet will have a total glow up as a result.
Almighty.
I was not expecting that, and I think you're going to get cancelled from that, Matty, which again would power the car nicely.
Exactly. A lot of hot air propelling the car.
What do you think about
I feel
it?
like Matty, this. Go on. Sorry.
The way the world's going, that would actually work because everyone is like that. They just, it's just honestly, that is quite funny. I was thinking more
literally.
Literally. Jamie, have you got a solution for your car to drive with?
I mean, I didn't know we were doing this, but I've heard Matty's inspirational way to deal with it, and he's kind of spoke about the Gen Z, right? And what more, right? We've got a current trend of it going on right now. It's almost like an epidemic. Why don't you just get cars to run off of elf bars?
Oh my god! Yes!
Get a massive, get all the waste elf bars that have got that little bit left in them, but you can't extract it. Get one massive elf bar that's got all that, like little stuff in the bottom, all built up into one big elf bar. Replace it with replace a fuel tank with it, and then just go, and you're grand. And then the roads all smell nice of whatever flavour you want. And
that's not bad.
Literally, it's
you could have some sort of fuel injector that'll inject the liquid and turn it into the vape.
Literally vape liquid.
Yeah.
Literally, mate. Yeah. All they've got to do, you've just got to have some sort of chav in the back fucking vaping in there as well and fueling it even more. That could be the sort of on the go method, and then obviously you've got your stationary methods where you put the vape liquid in.
I mean, could you imagine it? Just close your eyes and imagine the new Ford Grapefruit. It's brilliant.
Oh god, couldn't have picked a worse fruit, Matthew. I'll be honest.
Well,
that's a genius idea.
That's my favourite elf bar flavour.
Oh god,
grapefruit, because you can sort of scrub the G off and it says rape fruit then.
Oh no. That screams of Top Gear in Alabama. That does. That really does. Literally, I literally only got in a Scirocco earlier to do a service, and you know the whole stereotype with Sciroccos being drug dealers' cars and everything.
Are they?
Yeah,
I thought they were just overpriced Golfs.
No. They are, but they've also got a reputation of being a drug dealer's car. Normally they're blacked out.
They're not down here usually. I don't really see many down here.
I've literally got in this Scirocco. I've looked in the glove box for the owner's manual so I can stamp it for when I finish it. Not only is it missing, but then I open the glove box and there is millions of elf bars in there that are all just like empty or whatever. Then they were in the cup holders. I was finding them everywhere, and then I looked down in the driver's door card, and in the pocket, not only was there a trap phone, but there was also a Travelodge card as well. Of all cards it could have been, it was a Travelodge one, where they've obviously been doing their lines. And this is one great car-related podcast, isn't it?
It's been a bit of a mix.
It has, and they're the best ones because it just flows so much better. We are still recording though, by the way, boys. Let's not do our roundup just yet. But just on that, very, very quickly, sorry Bailey, just very quickly on that Scirocco thing. I didn't make this up, but I read something and I really did agree with it. People who drive around in Volkswagen Boras, I don't trust them. I think they are drug dealers. Don't they just give you that vibe, like a guy driving around in a Volkswagen Bora? It just looks dodgy, doesn't it? And my mum had one of them when they were fairly new.
I would love a Bora. I'm not gonna lie. I've been told by my mates I'm one of the most trustworthy people out there. I would love a Bora. They're just different. Like they didn't make many when they were new, and you barely see them now anyway. My opinion on the Bora is it was built roughly around the same time as the Mark IV Golf, correct?
Yeah. It's based on
you
a
see
Mark IV
all
Golf.
these. You literally see all these Golfs, these Mark IV Golf TDIs going around that have all been mapped up and they've got a load of shit kicking out the back, like soot-wise. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm all for that. But I feel like those that own the Bora want to be that little bit different. Like, they're not different because obviously they're doing the exact same thing to it that they would with the Mark IV Golf, but they think they're different because of it being a slightly different looking car.
Yeah.
Like, his name's Gavin, he's got a can of Monster in his hand, and is like literally it's a silver Bora with the back completely blacked out from soot and everything, and he's got his kids' car seats in the back, and he's about to go and do the school run.
Right, you've been cancelled.
But he's also puffing an elf bar out the window.
You've been cancelled.
The Car Talk
Go for it.
podcast plays with these stereotypes.
Sorry, lads. all good vibes here.
Shall I suggest my solution for the crisis of cars?
You've got stiff competition.
We've gone
here.
so off topic.
I know,
we might as well let you
mine's
finish.
pretty tragic compared to your
Have you
ones,
actually
but,
thought about this? Is this what you're
I
saying?
did think of vaping, to be fair. Yeah, I did think about this, yeah. So I thought about, what about wee? Like piss. Because that would work.
So tragic.
I mean, it's not.
It would
wrong,
work, though.
is
Because
it?
if you run out of fuel, you go, oh, I need a wee. Wee into the tank.
You could have at least
But what
said...
if you get to a fuel station, you don't need a wee? You're fucked then.
But you always need, you just drink loads of water. You power yourself and then you power the car.
Yeah, you could have at least said run it on prime energy or something to kind of keep up the theme, but you chose piss,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, the thing is, I went really serious in terms of like what would actually probably work scientifically, but you went completely opposite of that. So I was like, oh, right.
Just instantly grabbed it by the.
I'm glad
by
you
the
didn't go
scruff of the
first,
neck.
Bailey. People would have switched off.
I know.
Yeah, that's it. We have Matty start off cancelling himself.
I didn't
Seemed like
cancel
he was asking
myself.
for it.
I was just using
Sounded
all
like
the...
you were asking for it, mate. I'll be honest.
I was
with you.
using the woke buzzwords.
Yeah, which is that is politically correct, technically.
Well,
In
I think
this
the
day and
biggest
age.
woke word is just discombobulated. That would power it for like another 200 miles.
yeah.
Is there anything else that would actually work, generally, that would work in a car? You know, we've talked about synthetic fuel being a thing. I'm trying to think what a car would actually run on. Any ideas? This is
I
like
mean,
a serious...
it's difficult because literally anything that can be combusted in a car is being used. Like,
If
literally,
we
I think-
knew that, we'd have a lot of more money than we do now. If I had the answer to your question there, Bailey, I would be hosting the Car Throttle podcast, not this one.
I suppose that's true. Well, on that note, is that kind of it then? We sort of figured it out that the
No, it's
best...
not. No, it's not. I
it's
hope
not.
you've got the video that I sent you ready, Bailey, to play to the audience.
Oh, I do, yes.
Because I need the viewers and listeners' opinion on this.
Okay.
I do like to stay in touch with most of the guests that come on the podcast. Jamie is one of them. We've been staying in touch since he was last on. But he's been sending me some rather concerning voice notes. And that's not because
oh my god,
they're concerning.
No, you have not.
It's not because they're concerning because of what he's saying. It's because of he's pretending to be Northern. Can we just play a few of these, Bailey, to the viewers and listeners?
Yes, of course. I'll put it up to the microphone.
That would be great.
My days. Oh, mate, you've screwed me.
Question is though, mate, is it called a Saphira or is it called a Sapphira?
How's that, Scouse?
Because they seem to combust a lot.
My
I'm literally
days.
trying to find it on your profile.
That's his normal voice for.
Bristol is fucking.
That's his normal voice for
If it were
comparison. There we go.
You can't even tell me that's not a
because
bad
I'm trying
impression.
to kind of speak at the same sort of, I guess, tempo that you do. Like when you're sitting in a car and you're like, here we are sat in the back of things. Welcome to the Matty's Cars
God.
Boxing Day Awards ceremony.
Remind me
There's
never
loads
to do
of
that
space
ever again.
in the back, and also a load of nice room to have a bifter with.
Oh my god.
800 quid. Get that Saxo VTR
Down your neck, lad.
Down your neck, la.
So that is the video.
Oh my god.
So, how do you feel about that?
I feel violated.
I thought you said you could do a good
Absolutely
Scouse accent.
I mean, I didn't think that was a bad impression, to be honest.
think it's better than
Bailey,
mine. I
Think we
can't
should,
even go near
I
that.
think we should Bailey's then for comparison.
No, I'm not doing that. In the back.
Chicken chips and a can of Coke.
Yeah, chicken chips and a can of Coke. No, I can't do it. It's
Right,
shit.
lad, I'll have a large cod chips and a can of Coke.
That's good, that to be fair.
That's the Jimmy Carr one, isn't it? Yeah, it's good.
Oh god.
So, does that wrap up this episode of the podcast, do you think, lads?
Yes, certainly does.
It does.
For me anyway. I feel content now.
So what do you think won out of the two? Because the other one was rubbish, from my opinion. The two out of your two suggestions, what do you think won?
I think we need like an Instagram poll or something.
We
to decide
definitely
that.
do.
It wouldn't.
Yes,
wouldn't
decide
be-
in the
wouldn't be
comments or
fair.
something in this video. Decide in the comments which one you prefer out of the two, and then we'll try and make a petition to see if it can get it to be working. But on that note, we will end the podcast here. Thanks, Jamie, for coming back on as usual.
Huge pleasure
and-
for us, sorry.
Yes, it is.
Not for you,
Thanks very much
for
for
us.
having me back on. I'm very honoured.
Matty, would you like to plug your socials?
Yes. Went blank then for a minute. Sorry. So if you want to see more of me, you can see my own YouTube channel, Matty's Cars. Instagram for that is Matty's Cars YT. Or if you'd like to see what I get up to on the weekend, you can follow my personal Instagram, Mattsgram99.
Nice one, thank you, Matty. And Jamie, would you like to plug any social medias you have?
So the only social media that I want to plug is my Instagram, which is at Jamie_MGZR. I literally just get up to all sorts of stuff with my car, whether that be going to an event, going to random locations, taking photos of my car, literally anything like that really. It's just car related to what I've got. So if that's what you're interested in, go and have a follow. If not, I'm not really going to be offended. So yeah, that's really the only thing I've got.
Nice one, thank you, Jamie. And obviously you can subscribe to us on the channel here below, which this podcast will be out on, and obviously Spotify and all the other streaming platforms. If you do want to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, it's Car Culture, whatever the underscores and other things are to it, you'll probably find it. And if you want to follow my Instagram, it's a personal one, it's Bailey Prickett 27, and you can see me in some sunglasses. So that wraps up the podcast, lads. Yeah, we'll see everyone next month for a new episode.
Stay woke.
Subscribe to the Car Talk podcast.
Yes, subscribe to the Car Talk.